Hi everybody, this is Rita Holmes, independent demonstrator with Stampin Up here in Ohio, and I'm coming today to bring you a fun fold technique today that I think is really fun. So I'm just setting up, make sure my iPad is up so I can make sure that I stay in focus with you guys so that you'll be able to see the card. So I'd like to welcome you all here. I'd like to also ask you if you could to share the video. If you could give me a thumbs up if you like my video, give me thumbs down if you don't, but do comment and tell me what you think I could do to make it better, because I'm here to serve you. And I just wanted to touch base with you, wanted to say hi, and when I flip my phone, I'll have all my information you can see with my website, my Stamp Crazy VIP group on Facebook, which is where I always do my lives every Tuesday, and I have a PDF that I post on there that you can pull off for every card that I make. Today we're going to be doing the 20th fun fold that I've done since I started doing videos, which is about a year and a half ago, during the pandemic, when I couldn't have classes anymore and I just started that. I do want you to bear with me. I don't have my microphone plugged in because when I went to use it today, I realized I didn't turn it off last week, so it's dead. So it's going to take a while for me to charge it. So with that being said, I hope that you can hear it. Just turn your volume up if you can't, and we will see if that works. You can let me know. I do have the same video posted over on my Stamp Crazy VIP group that you can see the live video over there, and I've already went through that, and you could hear that really good without the microphone. So it shouldn't make a difference because this is actually in a private group that I do. It's only me in here. It's I call it my test page. It's where I do my videos and then change them over to put them on YouTube, since I don't do live YouTubes, or not yet anyway. So anyway, I'm going to flip my phone so that you can see the cards that we're going to make, and I'm going to do some explaining to you about it. And this video will probably take a little bit longer than what's usual for my videos, which is 20 to 30 minutes. We're going to go 30 to 40. So it's only going to be maybe 10 minutes longer, but it's so that you can get the idea of the fold and make sure that you do it right and make it easy for you. So with that being said, I am going to turn my phone. You're going to see my ceiling, which is always fun. I'm in the basement, so I have a drop ceiling in that. And now we will flip you over, and there's our cards. So the card that we're going to do today is actually the Christmas card, but I put two of them out so you could see them. Let me show you why it's called a fun fold. It's because when you open it up like this, and then you have these two that come out like this. So you have a small, this measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, the same as this does. It's your regular size card. When you close that, it's like a gate fold in the center. And then this closes up, and that's your card. Now, here's an everyday card I did with the same idea. Open it up, and there's your card. So, I thought they were really, really cute. I'll show you what I'm going to be using today, which is going to be the classic cloche stamp set, which I'll be using the dome and the birds and the same warmth, joy, and happiness. I'm also going to be using the Merry Christmas out of the Heartfelt Wishes, which I really love the font in this set, and the Merry Christmas was my favorite out of that, so I'm going to be using that. I'm also going to be using the dies that go with this. This is actually a bundle in the mini catalog. I'll be using the dome, this little piece that has like a filigree in it, and then this one that looks like a label. So I'll be using those two and the dome. And also for this card right here, this is actually an add-on stamp set that you can get that goes with the dies, and it's called Sweets and Treats. And with that card I used this dome and this plate and this cupcake, and this happy birthday. So that's what we used in the cards today, plus the Tidings of Christmas DSP, which is this right here. And it's got some Sahara sand colors, greens. You get 6 of each design. And the little trees have the red stripe. This is like a snowflake, and with some sprigs of greenery and holly berries. A green stripe with, it's a red background with just like little leaves and berries and stuff on it also. And then we have this two-toned soft succulent with this background, which I think is really, really pretty. And then the one I'm using here is like a tile background with this print. So it's really, really pretty paper. You get a lot of sheets, so you can make several cards out of one print. Also, let me show you the PDF. And the PDF you can actually pull off over at Stamp Crazy VIP on Facebook. If you haven't joined that group, please do, because you can pull all this off. I have the card with the what we used plus the directions, but I also have how you cut the card. This is how it's laid out to do all the scoring, and this is how, when it's cut out, what it looks like. The rest of the directions as we go, and then the sides of the card. So that's my PDF. Also want to show you well, it's not really in person because you're still on here, but that you can see more than that. Here's how I cut. Here's how I scored. Turned it with the 11-inch going across my scoring tool. Scored at 5.5 inches. I turned it to the 8.5 is at the top. I scored at 2 1/8 inch, and I scored all the way down. And I scored at 6 3/8, and that's all the way down. And that's the scoring that you do. The solid lines are where you are going to cut that out. So these sides will be cut out, and what it will look like then will be this, and that's going to be your card where you can fold your flaps in and this flap down to finish making your card. Okay? So we are going to do that, and that's why the video is going to take a little longer, because I actually wanted to show how you cut that and different things. So we're going to get started. We're going to lay this card right over here. Hopefully you can see it. Let me get my ducks in a row over here. And I will bring in first my scoring tool. Now, if you have a trimmer with a scoring blade on it, you can use that. I prefer my scoring tool, so I am going to bring that in. I don't want to set that on my card. That wouldn't be a good thing. So I will be bringing in a piece of 8.5 by 11 soft succulent cardstock, putting it up so where my corners match. I used the biggest end of my stylus, and I'm going to score at 5.5. I like the scoring tool because I think I get a nicer score line out of that, and I like that. I'm going to turn it now to where the 8.5 is across. I'm going to score at 2 1/8, which on here is the first tiny mark past the 2, and I'm going to come all the way down. I'm going to go to 6 3/8, which is 3 marks past the 6. I don't know why I felt like that wasn't in there, but it is. And then I'm going to score that all the way down. Okay, so there's all my scoring marks. So we are done with this. This is one of my favorite tools, actually. I use it a lot. So now I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer. You can do this 2 ways. You can take scissors and cut into the groove there and cut that out. I am not a very straight cutter with scissors all the time. So I'm going to line this up, and I'll tell you how in the groove where you cut your paper right here, I'm going to line up my score line right with that groove. And I'm going to cut down to 5.5 inches. We have the ruler here, and I know to stop at 5.5 inches, and there's a little mark on the side that gives you your guide to do that. I gotta switch hands so I can make sure I see it. There we go. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this way. I'm going to line that score line up into that cutting groove, and I'm going to score just to where I scored before. And you can usually feel that give right there. And there we have one piece off. Now I'm going to come and do the other side just as well. I think I moved that when I closed it up. You want to make sure you hold on to that because you want to see right where you're cutting. Oops. I don't think I came quite to the end there. There we go. So there, those are cut out. That's all the cutting that we have to do. So we are done with our scoring, or our trimmer. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to fold our edges in, okay? And do burnish that with your bone folder or whatever you tend to cut your, or crease your cards with. And we're going to do the same here. Now I'm going to make sure my card's going to fold and it's going to buckle right there where I didn't cut that quite as clean as I did on the other. So I'm going to bring my scissors in and I'm just going to cut that real quick. Need to get my paper snips out where it can be cleaner, I think. I just like to use the longer scissors sometimes. There we go. So now, let's see if it's... So now we're going to bring that down, make sure we've got all that, and we're going to score that down, okay? So, I got a little piece that sticks out right here. I'm going to trim that. There we go. So now my card folds, okay? Sometimes you'll have a problem with it meeting at the very bottom, and if that bothers you, you can trim that bottom off because you've got all that folding in there. So here we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in all of my DSP and my piece of Sahara sand. My Sahara sand is cut 5 1/4 by 4, and it's just going to go on the front of my card. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. And the reason why I'm doing it this way is I want to get all of my extra pieces out of my way before I start stamping. So since I'm not adding ribbon or anything to it, I can go ahead and glue that down and not worry about it. I've got a piece of the DSP. It's cut at 5 1/8 by 3 7/8 because I just wanted a small just wanted a small border. So we will go go ahead and add this to the front. Of our card. And there is that. So that is done on the front. Now I'm going to open it up, and I have two pieces of the lighter color. Now I could use the other side if I wanted it to be kind of bold looking. You could do that. Or if you want it subtle, you can do this, which I like the subtle side. These are cut 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. So you want to put them, whichever ones you decide. You're going to cut two different designs, 2 pieces of each for this part. So we're going to put this on the front. I call them the front of the panel here because it is the front of the panel. So I've got that down. Then I'm going to open them up. And I've got 2 pieces cut the same size, 1 7/8 by 5 1/4, that's going to come inside. So let's go ahead and add these to each side of our card. I didn't put much glue on there, so it's going to stick as soon as I put it down. The less glue you put on it, the faster it's going to stick. There we go. And I'm going to do the same for this one. Kind of make them look even. Okay, and I'm going to wait to glue. I have a piece of 5 1/4 by 4 that'll go in here, and I'm going to be putting Merry Christmas on that in a few minutes, and we'll stick it back in there. So that's the beginning of our card. This is extra pieces that you can put in your scrap bin if you decide to do that. So let's get to our stamping. I'm going to go ahead and stamp everything that we're going to be doing. So I'm going to take the Merry Christmas and ink that up and stamp it for the inside. And with this pad, you can just rub that across and it gives you a nice image. Because it's not a squishy pad, it's felt, it doesn't show all the marks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to put this up kind of high. And I'm just going to put Merry Christmas. And there we go with that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to move that over for a second, and we're going to go ahead and glue this on the inside, and the inside of our card will be done. Get as much paper out of the way as we can. Cardstock, DSP, whatever we can get on the card and out of the way is good. So let's go ahead and stick that in there. Close it back up. There we go. Now we're going to take, this is my scrap, and this is what I'm going to be stamping on. Let's move all this out of the way. I don't think we're going to need it all anymore, I'm hoping. Depends on if we do a good job or not. I'm going to bring in my cloche stamp, and I'm going to stamp on this piece of scrap. And I'm just going to stamp that down here. And then I'm going to take my birds, and I'm going to bring my birds in, and I'm going to stamp them. They're going to go like this, and I'm going to just stamp them inside that. There's our birds. We're going to set that to the side for a second. I'm going to bring in a piece that measures 1/2 inch by 3 inch, and that's going to be for our saying. The warmth, joy, happiness. So let's just stamp that in there. Didn't want to come off. There we go. So I think that is all of our stamping. That we have to do. Okay, what we're going to do next is we're going to color the birds. I use Stampin' Blends. I'll show you what I used. I used Dark Daffodil Delight, Light Soft Succulent, Light and Dark Cherry Cobbler, Light Crumb Cake, and I have my color lifter here if I need it. And then I used some Wink of Stella. So let's color this just real quick. I didn't do really any shading or anything on it because everything's so little. I just mainly colored. These are hard to stay in the line, so you just make them bigger. When you go out, just make everything look uniform. So there is that colored. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my crumb cake and I'm going to color the top. Well, no, I'm going to take my Daffodil Delight, I'm sorry. And I'm going to color in my beaks. So there we go with that. Then I'm going to bring my crumb cake in and I'm going to color my birds. And I'm just going to bring this down. Then I'm going to color the other bird. I love coloring. How about you guys? Do you like to color? I love things that I can color. Now since I let this dry on this other side, I'm going to bring this back in and just kind of go right where my wingtips are and the end of my tail. And darken it up a little bit right there. You don't really have to use two colors to do that. You can just darken it. Now I'm going to bring in my light cherry cobbler. On my sample right here, I used real red. Well, I wanted it kind of darker, so now we're going to use, and I'm going to use the small end because I didn't realize how bad my other end looked on this, so we're just going to color in with the small end. So I'm just coloring that into not that I'm making any kind of particular color bird. I'm just adding some color here. Then I'm going to bring in the dark, and I'm just going to go underneath the belly right here a little bit. Not really do much. I brought in my Wink of Stella. And I'm just going to color these little circles. Kind of make some glitzy, looks like little snowflakes maybe. And I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and add a little bit to her wings. I didn't do that in my other video, but I thought, that looks kind of pretty. There we go. Just add a little bit. We are ready to die cut. So what we're going to do is we're going to die cut this with the cloche die, and we're going to also die cut one out of my window sheet right here that's going to go over top of that. And I don't know if you noticed it in the card, it kind of makes it shiny, like there's glass over it. This one is done with glue dots, so it's down on the card. This one here, there is a dimensional underneath the acetate, underneath the birthday, and underneath where the bow goes to kind of hold that up. And you can do it either way. That gives it more of a little 3D look. And this one just gives it a glass look when you're looking at it. So you can do those either way. I thought I would show them both to you. And I actually, this card, I saw this by another person, and I scrolled through so much, and I just love the way she used the black and white check, buffalo check from the Pattern Play, which is a hostess gift that you can get in the rewards if you have over a $150 party or order. And that's the same with this here. It's the same paper. And then this is out of the In Color collection that you can get of the 6x6s. But that's how you can raise it. You just want to make sure that you have something that goes over it, and that works really well. So let's bring in our mini Stampin' Emboss folder, or not folder, but our mini die cut machine with our, I'm going to cut out the window sheet first, and that little piece of paper that comes with it, I've left that on there because you get a cleaner cut with your die on the window sheet if you have that little piece there than rather not, because it can get a little jagged. Just make sure you have this set where you get the whole thing. We'll put this on and we'll roll it through. You'll hear it kind of crunch with that because it's that window sheet. And you only have to run it through one time with that. Move that just for 1 second. Take all of this away that we don't need. And there is our window sheet. Now you don't want to put a lot of fingerprints on it or anything, so I'm going to lay that on top of this card so that that's done. Now I'm going to bring my plates back in with my stamped image, and I am going to lay this on my image. I don't know why it doesn't match up at the bottom, but it does not. You get a little white piece there that you can either trim, or in our case you can leave it there because we're going to cover it up anyway. So we're just rolling that through. Let's move this out of the way. And there we go. Now you could cut this away if you needed to. I'm not going to worry about it because we're not going to see that when our card is done. Sorry, I leaned over and was talking. Okay, now we're ready to put that together. Let's just put this back in here. I lose my dies sometimes if I don't put them up right away, so that's what I'm trying to do. So here's our card. And we're going to decide where we want this. I think I'm going to put it like right here. So this part will get glued down. Nothing fancy, just glue it down. Now if I wasn't going to put this part over my card, I would cut this off. I would get that part cut off. There we go. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my window sheet and I'm going to get ready to put it down. I'm going to put it down with glue dots because of I'm not having it popped up or anything. So I'm going to take a glue dot and I'm going to put one here because I'm going to be putting a bow over it and we won't see it. And then I'm going to put one down here because we're going to be covering it. And I'll put one over here. For the same reason, we're going to be covering all that. Now we'll take this, and how I do it is I line up the little circle, whoops, on top of there. And then I just lay it down and line it up with the rest. And push down on my glue dots. And that is covered there. So now I'm going to take my saying, and I'm just going to glue that right over that. So it's just going to be right under this. So we'll just make sure that it is straight. Glue it down. And then I have this little piece here that I cut out. Let's lay it right here where you can see it. That was cut out with one of the dies along with getting things out of my way. These little pieces here, that's another die that's in there that you can cut them out. Here I have the soft succulent, and then this is some of the Sahara sand, which I think looks really nice. So we're going to try the Sahara sand. And what I did was I took my glue, and where I had thicker linings of cardstock, did this the last time. I had to wipe the tip, get the glue down in there, and I'm just adding just a tiny bit. Now you could do this with the fine line glue. To me that stays a little bit wet, so I don't use it as much. But you just need to get it on enough to where it's going to stick. Then I just take and line it up and press. And since that is going to cover up here with, on this window sheet, I go ahead and use glue dots again because the glue would take forever to dry on the acetate. So I tend to want it to stick as soon as I do that. So what I'm going to do is just pick this up and add my glue dots. And they're strong. They are strong. So let's just add those. And I'm going to add 3 of them. 2 on each end, 1 in the center. That'll be plenty. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I get this centered above my words before I put it straight down. That looks good to me, and then I'm going to press. And the last thing we have to do is make a bow and stick on the top. So let me get a little bow made. I'm using the soft succulent sheer ribbon. I'm going to make me a bow. Then we are going to cut it. Should have put that one just a hair. There we go. I also use my glue dots for this, and I put one, here's my knot, and I put one on the knot, but kind of to the side so it holds my knot in place. I put one on each side of that little knot. I don't know if you can see it. There's one over here on the knot and one over here, and it holds that bow down when you press. I just put that on there, press the center so it stays, and there's our card. So it opens like this, and then like this. And there's your card. That's how you do it. If you need the template, it is over, or to be able to see the template on the PDF, you need to pick that up at Stamp Crazy VIP, the Facebook group. If you just need to see the colored ones that I showed you like this, just rewatch the video. You can get this. You know, you might want to make a copy and put with your card or something, just to give you a visual of what you have to do and how you have to cut it, if you like visuals on that. So that is my cards. I appreciate you coming to watch. I hope you share my video, and I hope you give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. I also appreciate that very much if you could do that. And if you need to order, you can order at my website, ritaholmes.stampinup.net, with my host code for August, which is GDSWDRSH. You can get all that here. You can even screenshot that if you think you'll need it later. If you don't have our catalogs and you would like them, you can send me a message at ritaholmes0611@gmail.com, or comment in the comments here. I come back and check those periodically, and then I can send you a catalog. So with all that being said, I hope you all have a nice day. I hope you enjoyed the video, and be blessed. Talk to you later. Bye.